You're listening to the Airline Pilot Guy Show.
The view from our side of the cockpit door.
WAPG, it's the Airline Pilot Guy.
Airline Pilot Guy, episode 682.
Yeah, he's up in the sky. It's the Airline Pilot Guy.
Hello, you're listening to the Airline Pilot Guy Show. The view from our side of the cockpit door, with your host, Captain Jeff, broadcasting live from APG headquarters in Roswell, Georgia. Today's show is recorded the week of October 27th, 2025.
Yeah, he's up in the sky. It's the Airline Pilot Guy. It's your ride and it's flying by. With the Airline Pilot Guy.
In today's episode, a 737 loses a wheel during takeoff in Johannesburg, and a commuter flight overshoots a runway during landing after the first officer twice recommended a go-around. Also ahead, more news and your feedback. So get all settled in. Tray tables and seat backs in the upright and lock positions, electronic devices powered on. I'm Radio Roger, and Flight 682 is ready for pushback.
Thank you, Radio Roger. He's an award-winning TV and radio reporter, currently at the #1 all-news station in the nation. 1010 wins on 92.3 FM in
New York City!
Welcome to the Airline Pilot Guy Show. It's an aviation podcast covering the latest in aviation news and answering your great feedback. I'm Captain Jeff, former U.S. Air Force pilot and retired Delta Airlines captain. And joining us from his Garden View studio,
in Hartford, Hereford, and Hampshire.
retired professional dog shooter, former RAF, RAAF fighter pilot, unemployed Airbus A330, A340, exceedingly senior captain for Virgin Over-the-Pond Airways. It's Captain Nick. I guess I should say Capitan, the way you spelled it there. Huh?
Capitano, oh, definitely. Nice to be back on the show. Thank you very much for having me, Jeff. Now, more than 63 years ago, in 1944, 8 airmen, 7 from the Royal Canadian Air Force and 1 from the RAF, set off to bomb the rail yards in Louvain in Belgium. Their Halifax bomber was Lima Whiskey 682, just like our show number. But it was shot down and all perished. Now, 3 bodies remained entombed, still at their stations in the sunken wreckage, until 1997, when the wreck was recovered by a Canadian team. In 2017, the commander of the Royal Canadian Air Force accepted 8 ingots of aluminium cast from the melted down wreckage. Since then, the Royal Canadian Air Force wings have all incorporated a portion of this metal to honor the sacrifice and commitment of all those airmen and airwomen who came before. What a lovely story.
That's lovely.
That's a great story. Those Canadians.
I know.
They're good, aren't they?
We're special.
Yeah, really.
They're,
That's awesome.
Yeah, they go to special schools and everything.
Mm-hmm.
All right, very good. Well, thank you for that. And again, well, there's a little bit of death and destruction, but it was a long time ago.
Kind of inspiring, though.
We're over it now.
Right.
Okay. Thank you, Captain Nick. And also today we have, from his hidden studio in the woods north of the rectangular Bravo, that's an allusion to another podcast, certificated Laird, race car driver, world-acclaimed chef, and a comical, multi-engine instrument-rated pilot interested in anything with enough horsepower to kill him. Hail ye his honor, Lord Alpha Juliet. AJ.
Hello.
Who wrote that one?
I'm actually here on time for once. Huzzah.
Yeah, well,
Huzzah.
guess who wrote that one, Liz? Come on.
I'll give you 3 guesses and the first 2 don't count.
From her studio in Toronto, Ontario. Retired financier and aviation enthusiast, spreadsheet master, and our producer. It's Liz Pice.
Hi, everybody. Guess what I'm watching tomorrow night?
Are you going to the theater?
No, I'm not. I'm going to be watching on my TV. I'm going to be watching those Blue Jays. Hopefully, kick those Dodgers to the curb.
So what's the status right now? What's they're leading the series?
3-2 for the Jays.
Wow. They just need to win one tomorrow night and it'll be over.
Yep, they got 2 chances to get this thing.
Excellent. Well, good luck to them.
I feel like I should have some sort of opinion on this being from LA, but can't be bothered.
Well, I mean, I'm originally from Los Angeles and I'm still pulling for the Blue Jays.
Thank you, Jeff. You're such a loyal friend.
I am. All right.
Have a good show, you guys.
All right. Thanks.
Cheers.
Let's do some news.
Stand by for news.
All right, we're going to start with this. Over here in this part of the world, a lot of us have been focused upon a very, very strong storm out in the Caribbean, one named Melissa, a Hurricane Melissa, setting all kinds of records for the strongest Category 5 storm to hit the island or make landfall on Jamaica. Did all kinds of destruction there. I'm not sure what the death toll is up to at this point, but the last time I looked, it was around 39, 40, but it's probably much higher than that now. A lot of wind damage, obviously, and flooding. But this is, I don't know. I was watching it as it was happening and looking at the satellite imagery and the eye wall. I've never seen a more symmetrical eye wall in a hurricane ever in my life. Now, it wasn't the biggest, geographically speaking, hurricane that I've seen, but it was definitely a powerful one. And Jamaica definitely felt its brunt. And we have...
It was traveling so slowly as well, wasn't it?
Yes.
Jess? So it didn't whip through. It hung about. Going along at a walking pace.
I think a lot of the meteorologists that were covering this were quite amazed at how, when it actually did make landfall, usually that's when the hurricane, and it hits some of the mountains and that kind of thing, where it just starts falling apart and the eye wall just kind of dissolves, and the eye wall was actually intact for quite a good time before it finally collapsed as it was making its way to the northeast. We have some interesting footage. Yes, Liz, what?
Let's get to the aviation part.
Okay, we're going to do the aviation part. There is, obviously, any kind of storm is in a way related to aviation, because storms do really affect the world of flying, especially with typhoons and hurricanes. But in particular, of interest to many of us who are aviation geeks, we like to see these Hurricane Hunter aircraft that the National Oceanic Atmospheric Administration use, as well as the U.S. Air Force, the Hurricane Hunters. If you're watching on the video, and we'll have all this in the show notes, we're seeing the WC-130J model that the unit at Keesler Air Force Base in southern Mississippi use, Biloxi, Mississippi. And then there's the NOAA WP3 Delta, I think, is what they designate that. It's basically a civilian P3 that the NOAA uses for their hurricane hunting and data gathering and all that kind of stuff. But we have some video.
Kind of looks like they took an AWACS and lost the instructions when they tried to build it.
Yeah, they mounted the antenna on the wrong side of it, or
right there on the bottom.
Yeah. But I thought this was very, very interesting, and this is some footage from the Air Force WC-130J model. So they have just entered the eye of this thing. Look at that! Isn't that just glorious? How symmetrical that eye wall is, and how cool is that we get to see this kind of footage inside
Very
of a
impressive.
hurricane.
I kind of expect it to be whipping around like a whirlpool, but
Yeah,
amazingly static considering the wind it's generating.
exactly. I think so as well. And let me see if I can advance this a little bit more to kind of show some of the footage, looking at the right wing of the C-130 as it's flying around. We also have some footage from the WP-3, the NOAA bird. A little bit bumpy. Tied for the strongest Atlanta Basin landfall in nearly 100 years, the Hurricane Melissa. Yeah, it's a little bumpy in there. Pretty intense turbulence for sure. This particular bird they call Kermit, and they have a little doll hanging up there. Kermit the doll was able to make it through unscathed. Now, speaking of making it through unscathed, there was some news here talking about the fact that one of the NOAA airplanes had encountered beyond normal turbulence while operating near the eye of the storm. The aircraft flying under the mission call sign Teal 75. Actually, no, this is the Air Force one, the 130. The mission call sign Teal 75 was forced to abort its mission under safety rules, which require an aircraft to be inspected for damage after exceeding stated stress limits. And I think I heard from some other source that they reached a peak positive G of like 3.7 or 3.8. I'm not sure. That's quite a bit for even for a C-130, I would say. And I don't know what the stated or certified G limitation is for that airplane, but it sounds like it exceeded it for a brief amount of time.
I guarantee you there was nobody asleep in the back.
Probably not. Yeah. Anyway, so I was reading this article, and again, we'll have all this in the show notes. But I noticed this, and I thought, well, I don't really know a lot of information about this. Remarkably, despite the risk, the last fatalities during a Hurricane Hunter mission occurred in 1974. Yes, and so I looked up this article regarding this incident, and it is here. This, as I said, October 12th, 1974, an Air Force WC-130H model, call sign Swan 38 from the 54th Weather Reconnaissance Squadron based at Andersen Air Force Base in Guam, was lost in the South China Sea while flying Category 1 Typhoon Bess. I guess Typhoon Bess had started east of the Philippines, and I think it was like a Cat 4, maybe a Cat 5 typhoon. Went through the northern island of the Philippines, Luzon, and then it kind of went into the South China Sea, and it had decreased to a Category 1 with, I think, winds as high as 75 miles per hour. They were sent out to provide a reconnaissance information. The aircraft had only recently arrived at the 54th after having been converted to a WC-130H and had previously spent 8 years assigned to combat rescue as an HC-130H. Swan 38 departed Clark Air Base, a place that I've been many, many times back in the 80s, flying the 141 Bravo in the Philippines, successfully completed its first penetration. And most of an alpha pattern peripheral track. They were preparing for their second penetration on the, very impressive, on the north side of the storm, about 400 miles northwest of Clark Air Force Base, when the last radio contact came at 2200 local time. An investigation board later speculated the crew was on the final leg inbound to make a second fix when they encountered some catastrophic problem. They didn't receive any emergency declaration or communications. 4 days of relentless searching by rescue aircraft and 2 surface ships proved unsuccessful, and the 6 crewmen were declared missing and presumed dead. The name, the Typhoon Bess, was retired from the active list of typhoon names as a result of the loss, and the call sign Swan 38 was also retired. A plaque honoring the crew was affixed to the squadron building at Andersen Air Force Base, although they did some renovations and they don't know what happened to the plaque. It's missing in action. Killed in action, we have Captain Bushnell, First Lieutenant Crass, First Lieutenant O'Brien, First Lieutenant Hoffman, Tech Sergeant Suhr, and Sergeant Ringler. Rest in peace, guys. But that was 51 years ago. So, since then, they've had a pretty good track record. Yeah.
But this poster from the article says there have been 24 accidents and incidents that have resulted in loss of life.
Yeah, that was just the latest one.
Okay.
I was just going to make the comment, Jeff, that I read a remarkable fact that the crew captured historic data on this mission into Melissa, where they saw a wind gust just above the surface of a gust of 252 miles an hour.
Wow.
A world record for the highest wind gust ever measured by a drop sonde in a hurricane. But a gust of 252 miles an hour, that's ridiculous.
So that's about 150% of the never exceed speed of a 182.
It was just what I was going to say.
How many knots is
anyway,
that?
that's a remarkable fact. That's incredible.
220.
Okay.
You ever take 220?
I could accept that. I think that maybe 210, something like that. I don't know.
218.9. Excuse
go.
me, I was off by 1.
Wow. Well, try to be a little bit more accurate next time.
I will work on that.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. Anyway, it was a heck of a storm, and as I said, Jamaica has really felt the brunt of it, and our prayers go out to them for a quick recovery, and our thoughts and prayers to the people that lost their lives. Yeah, they are going to need a lot of help. Good people there. Next up, we have this preliminary report, a CommuteAir Embraer 145 landing at Roanoke-Blacksburg, which is Romeo Oscar Alpha Runway Excursion, published by the NTSB recently on September 24th, 2025, not that long ago, so about a little over a month ago, as we're recording this on the 30th of October. At 21:17 Eastern Daylight Time, it was nighttime, CommuteAir, doing business United Express Flight 4339, experienced a runway excursion while landing at Roanoke-Blacksburg Regional Airport. The airplane overran the end of the runway 34, came to a rest in the Engineered Materials Arresting System, the EMAS. There were no injuries to the 3 crew and 50 passengers on board, and there was no damage to the airplane. The scheduled domestic passenger flight was operated under the provisions of Title 14 Code of Federal Regulations, Part 121, from Washington Dulles International Airport, IAD, to Roanoke. According to the flight crew, this was the second leg of day 4 of a 4-day rotation. Okay. And the first leg on the incident airplane. Prior to departure, the airplane had been deplaned twice for maintenance-related anomalies. After boarding for a third time, the flight crew reviewed the weather and briefed the thunderstorms approaching Roanoke. Yeah, it's all about timing, isn't it? If they didn't have these maintenance delays, they probably would have been into Roanoke long before this weather system came through, and we wouldn't be talking about this flight. Oh well. The airplane pushed back approximately 2.5 hours after the scheduled departure time. En route, the flight crew reviewed the Automatic Terminal Information Services, ATIS, weather information for Roanoke. The ATIS reported calm winds, no precipitation, cloud ceiling of 15,000 feet, and that runway 6 was in use. The captain, pilot flying, briefed the localizer approach to runway 6. And just as an aside here, this is Jeff. That's the longest two of the 2 runways there by about 1,000 feet, runway 6. With calm wind conditions, that seems to be a good choice for the active runway. However, as we're going to hear as I continue reading, the situation, the weather changed a bit, and so they switched to runway 6. Okay, I'm sorry, they switched to runway 34. The captain, pilot flying, briefed the localizer approach to runway 6. The first officer, pilot monitoring, suggested reviewing the landing performance details for a wet runway or a runway condition code RCC of 5, but the captain declined to do that because the ATIS was not reporting precipitation. During the descent.
Jeff, I don't understand that decision. What possible harm could it have done with the first officer punching some numbers just in case it was wet? And that's a decision I don't understand.
I don't
In fact,
either.
there are
Well,
a few.
that's the first one.
Yes,
Yeah, I agree.
exactly.
Yeah, what harm, unless it in the captain's mind, he thought that would be too much of a distraction and they didn't have time to run the numbers or something. I don't know. It is a pretty short flight, because Dulles is just a little bit further up in the state of Virginia, and this happened all in the state of Virginia in Roanoke. It's just a little bit further to the south. Perhaps that was one of his considerations. I don't know. I think all of us would like to talk to this captain. Okay. So
Get him on the show.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to accept the invitation. Okay.
At least not until he writes his book.
Yeah. Continuing that. Very true, AJ. During descent, the flight crew checked in with approach control and was informed of precipitation along the approach path to runway 6 and that other aircraft were using runway 34 for landing. The captain requested the FO set up the instrument landing system approach to runway 34 and brief the approach. The FO set the ILS runway 34 approach, briefed the approach changes, and monitored the weather radar. After turning on final approach, the flight crew observed the runway and heard the previous landing aircraft report marginal visibility and bumpy conditions. In other words, that weather system is getting closer and closer to that runway. During the approach, the rain intensity increased, and then the captain requested that the FO run the performance calculation for landing on a wet runway with an RCC of 5. The FO ran the performance calculations and determined that they would have a margin of approximately 200 feet more than was required, not a big margin, without thrust reverse usage. The captain briefed the go-around procedures and that they would divert to Piedmont Triad International Airport, GSO, in Greensboro, North Carolina, if they executed a go-around. If they executed a go-around. Okay. That's my emphasis. On short final, the rain intensity increased and the captain requested windshield wipers at high. As the airplane descended below 500 feet, the FO observed that they were high on the precision approach path indicator, the PAPI, and then observed the captain correcting the flight path, but recalled they were still high as the airplane crossed the threshold. After crossing the runway markings, the FO called for a go-around, but the captain continued. About halfway down the runway, the FO called for a go-around a second time, but the captain continued. So the captain ignored this command or shout out or call out from the FO. The airplane touched down and the flight crew applied maximum braking, deployed the engine thrust reversers. The airplane overran the end of the runway and came to rest in the EMAS, the Engineered Materials Arresting System. The FO attempted to communicate with air traffic control, but the communications button had disengaged. I guess maybe his finger was off of it or something. I don't get that part. After engaging the communications button, the FO coordinated with ATC and contacted the flight attendant. The flight attendant verified that there were no injuries. The flight crew completed the emergency evacuation checklist, prepared for an evacuation. Airport rescue firefighting, ARFF personnel, boarded the airplane and assisted with evacuating passengers down a ladder. As part of the investigative process, the NTSB invited the qualified parties to... No, we don't need to read the rest of that. Okay. So that's what we have on the preliminary report. So just to recap...
Am I right, Jeff, when you just said that? He was halfway down the runway and still airborne?
Yes.
I'm sorry, I should have laughed. I should not be laughing.
Still airborne, and that's the second time the FO said, hey, should we go around?
Yeah, like Captain, I think that would be a good idea if we went around. I don't know what their policy is at CommuteAir, but in my airline and every airline that I know of, if one of the crew members says go around, you go around. And then you talk about it after you've finished your go around and like, why did you tell me to go around?
Actually, right. Yeah.
There's no discussion. I don't know. Maybe it's a different policy at this airline. I doubt it. I think that the captain
I bet if it was, it's not anymore.
Yeah, I bet you're right. But, you know, sometimes, and we've talked about this human factor, sometimes you're just so determined for an outcome that you've planned in your mind that you don't even consider any other option. And that sounds to me like what was happening with this captain. He's going, we're going to get this darn thing on the ground no matter what. Yeah, that's
Well, I
that's
mean, just
yeah.
going back a stage, if my first officer came up with the numbers and we were 200 feet in excess, our landing distance was in excess of what we had available, I would not even be allowed to attempt a landing.
I think you're reading it differently than I am. I think they had a 200-foot margin. That the required runway was 200 feet under what the runway length was. So they did have the landing, but and they put this in there for a reason. That these tables, these performance data tables, don't usually include the effect that you're going to have, the stopping force of the thrust reversers. Now, it depends on the airplane. Some airplanes have really powerful, as far as performance is concerned, deceleration effects from the thrust reverser. Some, it's just very, very insignificant. But so the performance data is being very conservative here. So there's probably a little bit more than 200 feet of margin there because the thrust reversers are still.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But still,
but
that's pretty close.
I guess that's because you can't necessarily rely on the thrust reversers to always deploy.
Right.
If you just go for brakes, then that's fine. Thrust reversers are a bonus.
Yeah, that's just being a little bit more conservative. And from what I recall, that was the way all of our performance data was considered.
Okay, still, it's a very small margin. 200 feet whistles past very quickly if you float. Or
absolutely.
High.
So this runway,
or if you start halfway down the runway.
Yeah, exactly. So let's see. I'm trying to recall the exact. If you can put that slide back up there, I probably won't be able to read it because it's going to be so small. I won't be able to see the actual numbers. The airport diagram. There we go.
You want the runway distances?
Yeah, 3,000.
5810 versus 6,800.
Okay. So 5810, so half of that would be what, 2,900 feet down the runway? That's considerably
2,905, but who's counting?
Considerably more than that 200-foot margin that they had calculated.
Touch more.
Yeah. Now, some people would say, well, why would they choose the shorter runway? Well, the way I'm reading this is that weather system, that probably thunderstorm cell, was on final approach to runway 6, and ain't nobody want to fly through that, right? So, and also the winds had shifted. So when they received the ATIS information, winds calm, they were operating on runway 6. Well, everything changed as they got closer. The winds had shifted to 230, I believe. Not a huge amount, maybe 5 knots.
A whopping 5 knots.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a cross.
260 at 5.
But still, if you had continued to operate on runway 6, that would be a 5-knot tailwind. Now I know it's within the limits, but still, not optimum.
Riddle me this, Batman. Why wouldn't you just switch to the opposing runway that's also 6,800 feet long?
Well, because maybe that nasty weather that they were trying to avoid would be now in your path if you had to go around from the reciprocal runway. I'm thinking on my feet here. I don't know. That might be the consideration, but I'd take a little 5-knot crosswind. Yeah, it's almost 1,000 feet shorter runway, but the other nice thing about 3-4 is that you have an instrument landing system as opposed to localizer only. So you have a precision approach as opposed to a non-precision going to runway 6. I'm not sure what the approaches are like going the opposite direction of 6. Yeah, and MetroDoc points out that there is a mountain at the end of runway 3-4 also. So, but I mean, I don't fault the decision to operate on runway 3-4. It sounds like the crew that landed before them had made the same decision. It's just the fact that it wasn't executed very well. That's the problem here.
That's an understatement, Jeff, but yeah.
So
yeah, very sad. I'm glad no one was injured because that would just rub salt in the wound. But I'm no doubt that captain's have to go. If he doesn't look for a new job, he'll be going through a lot of extra training.
There'll be extra training for sure. Absolutely. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's the prelim. We'll look for the final. as they progress in their investigation.
Yeah.
But the bottom line for us, all of us to learn, especially those of us out there who are pilots, is that if someone who is flying with you and they're qualified to fly that airplane tells you to go around, then just do it. As I said, we'll have the discussion at the bar, later.
And honestly, the qualified to fly that airplane, I'd even give that a good bit of leeway, because my 8-year-old can look out and go, wasn't there supposed to be a wheel on the end of that stick?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So, I mean, pay attention to the other people who are also paying attention to the thing you're trying to do. And, just to put that as basically as possible, right?
Yeah. No, that's well put.
I wonder, we talk about these human factors, psychological factors going on, and things like alarms are blaring and stuff, and people go, well, I didn't hear any of that. It's like your brain sometimes just zeroes in on something, and maybe that's what was happening with that captain.
Neil Anwarn has he's got a good point. We should come up with some sort of a catchy jingle for situations like this. I bet we could make a bunch of money with that.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not sure about making the money part of it.
That'd be a great name for it, Nick. You could always go around.
Huh. Well, let me write that down. All right.
You can always go around if it don't look right coming down.
Let's continue on. I know that, let's see, I know that Liz is probably, have you been trying to express anything to us, Liz?
I did send you a WhatsApp a few minutes ago that you're at the half-hour mark. Yeah.
Oh,
I read it. I was paying attention.
Well, let me.
I'm a good student.
I just want to make sure that I have the
WhatsApp
app up.
Oh, if you have the WhatsApp app, that's different than the WhatsApp. That you have up.
Oh, no wonder. No wonder I didn't see it. What's up?
That's where it's all gone wrong.
Okay, I now have the WhatsApp app up.
The WhatsApp app up.
The WhatsApp up. Oh, okay. Okay. So, Liz, should we just continue with let's do the next one.
Yes, you're only at a half an hour. I think you should go for a little more news. I think.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right. It felt like we'd been doing this for about 5 or 6 hours already for some reason, so that's why I was.
Well, you have been, but active show. It's only about half an hour.
Okay. Thank you. That's a little snarky. All right. Let's continue with this news item. What hit the max? That's the title. Both Ernest Metrodoc and Roger Stern sent in a link to this incident that happened on the 17th, I think, of October, not too long ago. A United Boeing 737-8 MAX, registration 17327, performing flight 1093 from Denver, Colorado to Los Angeles, California, with 140 people on board, was en route at flight level 360, about 180 nautical miles southeast of Salt Lake City, when the crew descended the aircraft to flight level 260 and subsequently decided to divert to Salt Lake City, where the aircraft landed safely on runway 16 left about 50 minutes after leaving flight level 360. The airline reported that the aircraft diverted.
I was going to say that sentence kind of leaves it, it kind of buries the lead. Because it sounds like they just descended and then they just decided to divert. Just because.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you why. They diverted to address a crack in one of the layers of the multi-layer windshield. Did you like my dramatic pause?
All
right. Thank you. A replacement Boeing 737-9 MAX reached Los Angeles with a delay of about 6 hours. Okay, so
is that the same thing as a 737-900 MAX?
I think it's very similar. Not quite the same, but very close. So at first, when this first happened, and on social media and everything else, everybody's going crazy. The captain, there are some photos of the captain's bloodied arm and the cracked windshield, shattered windshield. I don't know. Do we have that image, Liz, at all? No. Okay. We'll have there was also a video that was included in one of our, well, it's in our show notes. I just didn't want to play the video because it's a very long video and there are some things that annoy me. So I decided not to play it. But in that, you'll get a little bit more information about how the windshield looked and what the captain's arm looked like and all that kind of stuff. But the captain was pretty sure that they had encountered some space debris or maybe a meteorite or some kind of something that came from outer space and came down and slammed into their windshield. Although he did say something that to me kind of ruled out something coming in from outer space. The fact that he could see this object before they actually ran into it and hit it. So I'm thinking if it was something like a meteorite or something like a piece of space junk from a satellite, I'm not sure that there's any way that he would have seen that before it hit the windscreen.
What if it was a UFO and it was just pausing to find directions?
Well, that's a possibility. However, there's a company here named Windborne Systems that was watching the coverage of this and going, "Hey, Jack, yeah, do we have one of our weather balloons in that area where the United flight hit the..." Yeah, okay, yeah. So they looked at their data and found that they had a weather balloon in that area. Again, Windborne Systems issued this statement. On Thursday, 16 October, foreign object debris struck the windshield of United 1093, a 737 MAX, at approximately 36,000 feet. Windborne began investigating this incident on Sunday, 19 October, and we believe that the FOD, the foreign object damage, was likely a wind-borne balloon. At 6 a.m. Pacific time Monday morning, we sent our preliminary investigation to both the National Transportation Safety Board and the Federal Aviation Administration, and are working with both organizations to further investigate this incident. We are grateful that, to our knowledge, there were no serious injuries and no loss of pressurization. The flight, which was en route from Denver to Los Angeles, diverted to Salt Lake City. The plane itself later flew to Chicago. Windborne has conducted more than 4,000 launches. We have been coordinating with the FAA for the entire history of the company and file NOTAMs for every balloon we launch.
Well, we all know what NOTAMs are.
They're just a bunch of garbage.
They're a bunch of garbage.
That was the old system. It's a totally new
that's
system.
like the new
now.
system is only a little bit of a garbage, like slightly garbage-ish.
It's fresh. It's fresh
new
garbage.
Yeah, new
fresh
garbage. Just a little bit of rubbish, maybe. We have been coordinating with the FAA. Okay. The system is designed to be safe in the event of a mid-air collision. This is the purpose of the FAA Part 101 and ICAO weight limits. Our balloon is 2.4 pounds at launch and gets lighter throughout the flight. We're working closely with the FAA on this matter. We immediately rolled out changes to minimize time spent between 30 and 40,000 feet. These changes are already live with immediate effect. Additionally, we are further accelerating our plans to use live flight data to autonomously avoid planes, even if the planes are at a non-standard altitude. We are also actively working on new hardware designs to further reduce impact, force, magnitude, and concentration. So it sounds like this company was doing everything they were supposed to do. It looks like they were complying with the guidance from the FAA and ICAO regarding the design and weight of the telemetry or whatever, that part of the balloon that sends all that information to the weather people. And it looks like that they're being proactive when it comes to making changes to kind of avoid that area as quickly as they possibly can between 30 and 40,000 feet, which I'd say probably at least 90% or more of airline traffic flies in that altitude range.
How hard would it be to put a tiny little ADS-B transmitter on it?
Good question. Don't know.
I don't know. I mean,
You're adding to the weight, but they've got it. They're already tracking it, so they already know where it is.
Well, they know where it is, but the people flying at it at 600 miles an hour don't know where it is.
good point.
Yeah.
I don't know how much. I don't know how much. I guess that those ADS-B
I mean,
transmitters are pretty.
The little
They can be
STC ones
pretty-
that go on that are bolt-on for older airplanes and stuff.
Yeah.
They weigh a few ounces. They replace the
Oh.
navigation light on the wingtip. They're I
Okay.
mean, they're literally 1.5 inches in diameter, if that. I
Sounds
can't,
like
I can't imagine that would be
Not
that
a bad
complicated.
idea, but it's not a TCAS, is it? An ADS-B.
No.
So are you going to get avoidance for the aircraft?
Well, so that's an interesting thing because airliners, yeah, as Captain Nick is alluding, have TCAS systems. Now we do get ADS-B information that can be displayed, but I'm not sure that how that works in conjunction with TCAS if they actually even use. I think that's purely just transponder data that it's using, not ADS-B. I could be wrong about that. I don't know. Maybe somebody in our live chat is much smarter than I am and can let us know if an ADS-B transmitter would have any effect on the current systems that are in most airliners out there, and would it interact or operate with a TCAS system?
I don't think it would set off an RA, would be my guess.
Yeah.
But at least it's some version of information that says, hey, there's a thing.
Yeah.
If you can go 1 mile out of your way to avoid this thing.
Okay.
Or less,
Luger kind of is telling us in our live chat what I kind of thought, that ADS-B is invisible to TCAS. But so are you thinking maybe the ADS-B would be more for the air traffic control's benefit?
It could be either. If you have, if you're seeing ADS-B data on your traffic display in an airliner, I know we're watching it in, things like what's behind me. We run ADS-B on that. It has TCAS as well, but we see traffic, ADS-B traffic on our display.
And does that send some kind of an alert at all?
It will. You can have it, depending on how you have it configured. You can have alerts. Yes. It's not like TCAS, but
Neil Lanhorn says, I think some do. You can track hot air balloons on flight radar. Yeah. Okay. So those hot air balloons, though, they're quite a bit larger and heavier, and a little couple of ounce ADS-B transmitter is not going to be much difference in the total weight of the thing. But these little things are, pretty
it is a tiny little device, but like I said, so is the transmitter. It doesn't have to be anything significant,
I think Wimborne, by the reading this statement of theirs, it sounds like they're a pretty responsible company. They're going to try and do their best to minimize it, but one impact every 4,000 launches is their current rate, which isn't particularly safe, if you ask me.
True.
There's that.
Yeah.
I have to say, I love the couple of the comments that are on this article. I don't know if you scrolled down far enough to get down to those.
From Av Herald, I think the comments are from.
They got copied into the notebook. My favorite one so far is by Boeing shareholder, and this is literally just a couple days after the incident, so they didn't know what it was or anything. He said the most likely scenario is that it hit debris that came off another Boeing plane ahead of it.
Oh, I think most people would agree. That's probably the most likely answer. Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, Boeing. Anything else to say about that? Well, it was after it first happened, there were a lot of all kinds of kooky theories out there exactly what it was that hit that the airplane ran into. But I'm glad that this company said, excuse me. I think that maybe we had something to do with this.
Yeah.
And all right. Let's continue on with this, a preliminary report, an incident, Safair, I guess that's the way you pronounce it, Safair, Safair, Boeing 737-800, or is it a -8? I'm not really sure anymore. At Johannesburg on April 21st, 2024. Oh, a while ago. Dropped a wheel on departure. Let's see.
It's not safe there. It's
Not well in this
unsafe
particular
there.
flight wasn't that safe. They were
It might be Safair.
They spelled it wrong. It's Safair.
Safair. Yeah. Okay. They were performing flight 212 from Johannesburg to Cape Town, South Africa, with 178 passengers and 6 crew. Departing from Johannesburg's runway 21 right when the outboard left main wheel separated from the airframe. The crew stopped the climb at about flight level 220. Well, that was quick. Descended to flight level 150, entered holds to burn off fuel. The aircraft performed a low approach to 21 right about 90 minutes after departure, entered another hold, landed safely on runway 21 right at about 40 minutes after the low approach and about 2 hours and 15 minutes after their departure. The lost wheel was recovered within the airport perimeter. Let's see. I'm not going to read the preliminary report, or am I? The preliminary report was issued on May 15th, 2024. This is old, like really old. Do they have a final report?
I think it just came to the attention of Simon. I think it's been out there and he just found it, I think.
Interesting. Okay, that's odd. Sometimes we get weird date correlations here. Okay, so that makes sense. So I know it happened a while ago, but we're just now learning of it. According to preliminary radar and voice communication data, air traffic control cleared the aircraft from takeoff, blah, blah, blah. As the aircraft took off, cabin crew member who was seated at the back of the aircraft observed through a porthole window that the wheel had separated from the aircraft.
Never heard it called that before.
Yeah, I guess it's, those doors sometimes have these little teeny tiny windows. I guess
that's what we call them on the C-130 because they're round and they're about 6.5 feet off the ground.
Yeah,
call
let's
them
see,
portholes.
Port stopper. And if it was on the left side, it would be a port hole, right?
Oh, very good. Very good. All right.
By the way, Jeff, there is a final report that came out on October 21st, 2025.
Oh, is that in this article?
No.
Oh, it sure is.
There's a link to it.
Oh, look at that. Okay, there's the final report. Okay, that's why we're looking at it. I was looking for more than just that paragraph or sentence.
You're
actually.
welcome.
Thank you very much. So the final, okay, so let's talk a little bit about the preliminary report. They said that somebody sitting back in the back say, hey, what was that? Something came off the airplane. Looked like a wheel. And then they went up to the cockpit and advised the pilots that that they think a wheel came off. And the way this narrative reads, at least when I read it, it almost sounded like the pilots told the cabin attendants this is what happened. But I'm thinking it's probably the other way around. I think the people in the back of the airplane were the ones that alerted the crew to this. And then I think later air traffic control then also advised them that they think they lost a wheel. Anyway, they coordinated with their maintenance people, did a low flyby for them to take a look at it. They determined for sure that one of the outboard left main gear tire was missing. Then they went out and did some more checklists to kind of prepare the aircraft for landing. Then after all that, they came back in and landed. And let's see, anything unusual about, let's see, as the aircraft had stopped, the pilot,
They did a beautiful landing by the looks at the rate of descent.
That's what I was about to say is, 1.06 Gs.
That's like rolling it on.
That's pretty good.
If you had a wheel, that would be rolling it on.
More of a slate scraping it on, but it's
scraping it on. Yeah, you're right. That is an interesting piece of data, isn't it? Let's see. As the aircraft had stopped. I mean, the pilot in command had to come on and say, "Yes, I know you can't tell, but we are on the ground now," and instructed all the crew and passengers to remain seated upon the arrival of the ARF personnel. The crew was requested to shut down the engines as smoke was observed from the left main gear. The pilot in command broadcasted all occupants in the aircraft to continue to be seated, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so nobody was injured. Everybody was safe and sound. The main wheel tire that separated from the axle was recovered within the perimeter of the airport. The left main landing gear on the left outer brake unit was damaged. Minor damage was observed on the left inboard flap, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Here's the final report to which AJ was mentioning. It's likely that the cause of the wheel hub failure was due to a fatigue crack that initiated at the bearing cup seat transition of the inboard wheel hub half bearing bore. Now, that's exactly what I was thinking when I heard about this.
Yeah.
You can do that, and you can't say reconnaissance?
Exactly. Shut up. Anyway, there's a nice little picture there. I think that Liz has already projected on our video version. Yep, of the definitely. I can say as an expert in aviation and being a pilot for many, many years, I can definitely say the outboard left main wheel is not there.
That's broken.
It's broken. Yeah, it done broke. So good job.
There's your problem right there.
There's your problem.
Now, the only question in my mind, I'm guessing that they have maintenance facilities at Johannesburg that they weren't available at Cape Town for them, because I was thinking they already got to 20,000. They had the gear up. Why not go down to Cape Town? Because Joburg's at 5,500 feet, and your ground speed on landing because of that is significantly higher than it would be landing on a runway that is at sea level, which is what Cape Town has. I don't know if Cape Town has actually got more than one runway. I'm not sure about that. So that might have been a factor. But because I was going, wonder why they didn't go down to Cape Town or somewhere else that was at sea level. But I mean, they did a good job and it all worked out. So that was obviously a good decision, but that went through my mind.
I think that your first inkling regarding maybe the availability of their maintenance personnel not being available at Cape Town, that might be, because you're right. I mean, I'd much rather have to handle a situation like this closer to sea level, having some, thicker air to deal with for sure. Right.
Yeah, exactly.
It also mentions in the preliminary report that there was some confusion for the flight crew, and they weren't exactly sure what non-normal checklist to run in this instance.
Yeah, they did a good job sort of picking out the best bits of 3 checklists, because there wasn't anything specifically written, which I think is fantastic, because when there's no specific drill for the problem you've got, you just use airmanship. And I think these guys or girls did exactly that. And I commend them for that. And also the behavior of the cabin crew sounded great. It sounded like they were taking doing a lot of actions independent of commands from the flight deck. They were busy, trying to work out which drill to do. But
I have a question about that.
Yeah.
So it says in here that the flight crew decided they would perform a normal landing after confirming that the left inner main wheel was still attached to the aircraft. How did they confirm that?
They did a flyby.
Oh, okay. I can see that. The way the paragraph reads, it sounds like they were still in the hold for 35 minutes.
This was not really well written, I have to say. You're right, but yeah, it is a little bit.
I had this mental image. Of the lead flight attendant sticking her head out the door and looking.
Well, Captain Nick did say that they went above and beyond, so it's possible.
Yeah.
Got to do what you got to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good job. I agree. They did a great job. Yep. So we're going to conclude our news segment, thank goodness, with this, and it won't take long to cover this one. And I just read this today in the ops group bulletin. This is a customer service bulletin from Jeppesen that was issued earlier in September of this year. There's 1 year left. Planning for the end of Jeppesen paper chart services. Dear customer, the rapid transition from paper charts to paperless chart operations in the aviation industry, driven by high paper management costs and the advantages of software solutions, requires Jeppesen to adjust to the market situation and thus discontinuing its printing service, which is going to allow us to save a big boatload of money. They didn't say that.
By us, you mean Jeppesen, not
Jeppesen,
the
yeah,
pilots who subscribe to that service.
Right. Well, those little bits, those O's and ones, zeros and ones, AJ, apparently are very expensive.
I believe it.
Yeah.
I mean, I know you guys probably have never experienced this because the company pays for your Jeppesen subscription, but for
I've heard it's not cheap.
Itty bitty pilots like me, it's cost prohibitive.
Yeah. Well, they say for those that are now this is Jeppesen, which is a commercial product. There is also a product that is published by the government, the U.S. government, and we used to call them NOAA, but what are they called now? What do they call them now? AJ, do you know?
I've always just called them government charts.
Government charts, okay. Those are from what I know. Which is not much, are still going to be available in paper form. I'm assuming, what was I going to say? Oh, for those that really like their Jeppesen branded chart information actually be on pieces of paper. I read somewhere else that Jeppesen is making the 7-hole punched pieces of paper available for people that want to print their own charts using their digital chart services. So, for the people who just got to have that piece of paper. I mean, I think Liz, give me a thumbs up if you, that would be you, right? You'd want the piece of paper. Yeah.
So the most expensive part of this is actually the printing, not the custom sized and hole punched paper.
I don't know, to be honest, and
marginally dubious of this.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds to me like they're probably pretty happy that they don't have to worry about this whole actual physical product, the paper printed stuff. I can't imagine that would be an inexpensive thing, a cost for Jeppesen, Boeing / Jeppesen,
let alone shipping it to everybody because they weigh a ton. Do you realize now that carrying a big oblong flight bag, there'll be absolutely no excuse for carrying an old-fashioned flight bag, because the only reason we all had those flight bags, because when we got them, they used to be stuffed full of all the charts you'd need for all the books for a flight, and now you need a flight bag that is like a little girl's handbag, because all you need in it is an iPad.
I wish that when I was reading this bulletin, I thought, I should, for the show, I should get my Jeppesen volumes that I still have somewhere, but I think they're in my storage unit. So darn, I couldn't do it, but they're not light. They're very heavy.
No. That's why pilots have lots of big muscles.
Yeah, exactly. That's the reason. All right. Very good. So I just thought I'd throw that out there for those out there who are using
1 year left.
Paper charts. You got 1 year to figure it out. And then after that,
you got to buy an iPad.
Exactly. And pay.
Message from the producer. 1 hour mark now.
Thank you.
Ooh.
All right. Let's, I think it'd be a good time now to do this. Getting to know us. The time of the show where we gotta sit back, relax, and talk about what everybody has been up to, at least those of us who are present on this episode since the last episode. So here we go. Who would like to go first?
You should go first with your
I should.
Stuff from Hello.
Yeah, I should do that because last episode, I didn't remember it until the
forgot
very end of the show. So there are a lot of people probably that never make it to the end of the show. So,
Including us.
Yeah. And, well, yeah, maybe, were you gone? Yeah, you were gone.
I was 1 foot out the door.
Yeah. Okay.
One
Anyway.
foot in the grave.
Well, probably that too.
That too, but.
Yeah. So, Hillel, the guy that is always in my shower for some strange reason, is organizing a meetup in New York City.
New York City!
Yes. And he said, is it possible for us to talk about this? Absolutely it is. And so he's calling it the unofficial APG New York City meetup. And he prepared a piece of audio feedback for us to talk about it. So here we go.
Greetings, APG listeners. Join me, Hillel, for a mini meetup in New York City. Jeff's letting me out of the shower so I can meet up with you on Saturday evening, November 15th at a location in the Upper West Side. Meet up with me and other community members, including Mailman Dave Abbey and Tanya Wyman, and if he can get out of the studio, Radio Roger. The location and RSVP are in the show notes and on, you guessed it, Slack. So remember to RSVP, and until then, see you in Slack.
All right. Thanks a lot, Hillel.
All that water cannot be good for his recording equipment.
Well, I know. I'm hoping that he's keeping somewhat waterproofed or something. I don't know.
I think he uses an Edison phonograph, doesn't he? So
maybe
a wax cylinder.
Yeah, that's the one.
So he talked about the
waterproof, isn't it?
There you go. Problem solved.
So he did talk about the fact that there's a little bit more information in the show notes, which I'll read right here. They have determined that they're going to do the meetup at Dublin House, one of the best Irish pubs in town. It's just steps from the 1 train at 79th Street and next to Banksy?
Banksy.
Is
It's
there
next to a Banksy.
What is Banksy?
Banksy is a person.
Well, he's a graffiti artist.
He's like the most famous graffiti artist on the planet.
He's British, and his graffiti, if you can get hold of one, which usually involves knocking down a wall, sell for millions.
So when you're in New York City in that general vicinity, you just look for this guy, and then you'll know that that's where the meetup is.
Well, you're not looking for him. You're looking for his art.
Graffiti.
Well, it doesn't say that. It says next to Banksy.
It says next to a Banksy.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for that clarification. All right. Well, obviously, I'm way out of the loop. Let's see.
Have you cleaned your glasses recently?
No.
They are a funny color, I must admit. What have you smeared on them?
Little hazed over.
Hey, Tanya. Tanya's in our live chat. Thank you, Tanya. Tanya still loves me. Nobody else does.
She said exactly the same thing we did.
Oh, never mind. She was mean to me too. Okay.
Tanya gets
Well, anyway.
mentioned in my video shortly, so that's quite interesting.
Oh, okay. Well, anyway, we have the information about the address to which you send your RSVP in the show notes. But if you want it straight out of my mouth, it's Tanya at panacea42.com. And you have to figure out how to spell panacea because I'm not gonna. And
it's on the screen.
It's on the screen. Thank you. Well, for those who are watching the video, if you're listening to the audio, you're just going to have to go to the show notes to find it. It says you can find us past the main bar in the back room. They don't serve food aside from potatoes, but Tanya, they better have some Funyuns there too. But Tanya will be providing cheese and charcuterie plate. Charcuterie.
Ooh, lovely.
And there are many options nearby for delivery or just stepping around the corner to pick something up off the street.
From the
Are you
pavement.
familiar with potatoes?
No.
It's a Irish crisp.
Oh,
our version of a potato chip, but I'm surprised that they have them because they're quite difficult to find this side of the pond.
Interesting. Okay. I just thought he was trying to be fun with like another word for potato, but now I understand.
It's an actual brand name.
Potatoes. Interesting. That's why it's capitalized, I'm guessing.
All
right, very good. Well, thank you very much, guys. And you know what? I'm hoping, if my schedule allows, to fly up on that day and attend. said meetup.
Good job.
So that should be fun seeing everybody. All right. I probably shouldn't have said that. Now people that were thinking about going were thinking, oh, Jeff's going to be there. Oh, well. And other than that, I've been just busy doing my normal singing. Not a lot of extra singing gigs this week. But next week, I'm going to be singing in, I think, 2 different weddings and maybe a funeral and all the other stuff as well. So next week's a little bit busier. So that's all there is for me. Who wants to go next?
AJ does. Because then I can do my bit and go straight into artwork.
I guess I can go next. Let's see. Other than normal work last week, got to do a little flying over the weekend. I think I talked about on the last show. We were headed out to Gainesville for a Angel Flight booth setup and a little fly-in at the Gainesville airport.
In Georgia or Florida?
Georgia.
Okay.
Georgia. See if I can share this and make it work.
Because the people that live in Florida are probably thinking Gainesville, Florida, where the University of Florida resides.
That's true.
Wow, is that the parachute that these airplanes use to descend on when they have a problem?
Doesn't look very effective.
It was a bit windy, so the tent kind of deformed slightly. It's fine. It functioned, kept the sun off of us. Not that was a good thing because it was actually pretty chilly. It was a little bit chilly. We got there fairly early, about 8:30 in the morning. Like I said, fairly gusty winds, but nice, decent landing. Took the 206, so we got to take the whole kit with us. And then myself, my oldest daughter, DJ, some of you may recognize from previous stuff, and my friend Javier, all flew together in the 206 with all the stuff. And then some of you may recognize this guy from that other podcast and also friend of the APG show, Mr. Ben Singer.
Yeah,
he
I
joined
recognize all those people.
He joined us with his wife, Terry, and they came out and helped us sign up some volunteers and volunteer pilots and give out some information about Angel Flight and just kind of hang out and look at airplanes and have a good airplane day. So that was super fun.
Just so that people that are watching us for the first time and maybe don't know anything at all about Angel Flight, just a quick...
Yeah. So Angel Flight is a national organization that has regions or chapters that cover regions of the country. So I'm part of Angel Flight Soars, SOARS.com. If you go on the web, look up angelflightsoars.com or .org actually, excuse me. But we do medical flights, generally all medical flights, non-critical medical transportation. So people that have recurring treatment at specialized medical facilities for things like cancer or burn treatments or things like that. Those treatment centers, the really good ones, generally are not located right next to your house. So they have to travel there. And some people, that 8 or 10 hour car drive is far less comfortable than the 2-hour airplane drive. So if you're not in a place where you have the means to make that trip easily, you can sign up with Angel Flight and get free travel to and from. And it's all volunteer pilots, all volunteer airplanes. So the pilots bring their own airplanes. We don't provide anything except the tax deduction, basically. But if you volunteer with Angel Flight, you can fly these missions and get a tax deduction for any of the money you spend. But it's also, you get to meet some incredible people, just going through some tough times in their life, but a lot of them have really incredible stories. And it's just a great, fun way to go flying if you need an excuse to go flying.
The alternative website, Angel Flight, SORES, is for those who do a lot of the Angel Flights and have
too many
very sore bottoms. I don't know.
Yeah,
maybe.
But if anybody out there is interested in becoming an Angel Flight pilot, for us in the Southeast, we require 250 hours total time and an instrument rating. So pretty easy if you're trying to build time. That's a pretty low bar to jump in and get some good mission oriented flying in.
Yeah, and it's a good thing to do for
absolutely.
Society.
Perfect.
Other than that, had made some broccoli cheddar soup the other night. So I couldn't find the bread bowls that I wanted because, if you just properly serve broccoli cheddar soup, it's supposed to come in a bread bowl. So I couldn't find the ones for the grown-ups, but I decided, you know what, I would make some for the kids. So the littles got their own little itty-bitty bread bowls. So that is a 7-year-old hand for reference. But it's just it's a Chicago hard roll dinner roll that I cut out, put their soup in it. So
cool. Good idea.
Anything I can do to trick them into eating broccoli. So
you didn't use that word, did you? Broccoli?
No, I called it cheese soup.
There you go. Perfect.
Because it's disturbing the amount of cheese that these children intake on a daily basis.
It's disturbing the amount of cheese that I intake on a daily basis. And you know what? Speaking of cheese intake, that lady in our chat room, Tanya, she's like a cheese connoisseur. I would imagine her intake of cheese is very, very large as well.
Is she a cheesemonger?
A cheesemonger? I don't. Would that be someone who sells cheese?
Specializes in sells cheese. Yes.
I don't know. What say ye, Tanya? We'll wait for her response. Are you a monger? Are you a monger? Cheese and little trees. Yes, little teeny tiny trees. All right. Thank you, Neil, for that. And thank you, AJ, for getting us all caught up with what you've been up to. Appreciate it.
There you go. There's your answer. She loves cheese.
Love cheese, but just a fan. Okay. Oh, do they make fans with cheese?
I imagine you could fan cheese.
Yeah, probably can.
Well, you have to when it's hot.
Good point. When you're having the cheese fondue.
Well, then it would get all solid again, and then you couldn't dip things in it. So this is counterproductive.
It's a fine line.
Well, but on the other hand, you don't want to burn your mouth.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, we're getting the finger from Liz.
Okay. Which one? The middle?
Well, I'll leave that to your imagination.
All of them.
She's doing that. Okay, come on. Let's go. Let's move on.
I'll
move
shut
it
up
on
now. Carry on, Nick.
Carry on, Captain Nick.
Okay. Well, I had a good week actually. I mentioned I play pétanque. Well, I've joined another pétanque club, a bigger pétanque club, which there's all sorts of competitions and things. So I went down and played with them. We're a nice bunch of people. So I'm adding them to my pétanque experience, and we'll hopefully be able to play leagues and competitions and stuff. So that's good fun. That was nice. A lovely day down there. And what else happened? I've discovered an announcement. I think it's already been made on the last PT UK show, but PT UK are one of our friendly podcasts is coming up to their 600th show. And they're going to hold a sort of 600th show at the Duxford Imperial War Museum, the airfield, in the Airside Suite on the 22nd of May next year, 2026. So, Jeff, book yourself a flight, please. And Greg,
Hi. Hello. Beth, I'm right here.
And everyone else.
We figured you just fly one of your GA airplanes over there, AJ.
Yeah.
You don't need to book a flight.
Do the Blue Spruce route, up through Newfoundland and Greenland, and that'd be really exciting. So you will see you all over in May. I'm sure they'll love to see you. Right. Captain Al, our friend, has been trying to get a bunch of us together for a curry meetup. Now, he flies out of Luton Airport, which is a bit of a distance from me because it's well north of London. To call it a London airport is a bit of a joke. Oh, what was that?
Somebody's here at the front door.
Right. Anyway, I've got a video of our meetup, and I'm going to play it. Is that all right?
Yeah. Do it.
Here we go.
To flight crew training management.
Oh, hang on a minute. I didn't press record on that.
Amateurs.
Right. Hi there. Hi there, Jeff. It's Captain Nick. Now, I'm in this Indian restaurant in, where are we? Everyone's laughing because this is take 2. And I'm with the guys. So the food's being served. So I'm going to make this quick now. First victim is, oh, look, it's Captain Al.
A very good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you happen to be.
Oh, well, good intro. John, tell us what's happening then.
What's happening?
Al?
Well, the food's arrived. What else do you need to know?
I know.
Now,
Look, some of it looks really nice. Look.
Focus, Hal. Focus.
Yeah, excellent. So, no, I meant in your life. What's the airplane, the flying?
Yes,
what's it all like?
Absolutely. So I'd done the entry into service for the A321 XLR. As you can tell, I'm being distracted by the arrival of the food.
More food.
And as
runways.
of the beginning of October,
women.
I've left that role and gone into training management.
Oh,
So,
yes.
Absolutely.
He's a management pilot now. That means he's going to have a major fuck up before long.
Quite possibly, but I'm going to try to keep that till my retirement.
Okay. Anything else you want to tell us, Al?
No. It's good to have this little mini reunion, this little meetup, and you and I haven't seen each other, if you excuse the expression, in the flesh for a little while. So it's good to see you looking so well.
Thank you.
And
Thank you
I'm sorry that we've had to drag you away from being Father Christmas for all of the young boys and girls of Harpenden, but good to
Don't
see
worry,
you.
they'll get their fair share of me.
Absolutely.
Okay. Do you mind passing it on to Pip, please?
Thank you.
Hello, Pipperoni.
Hello.
What's happening, old chap?
Well, my most recent news is that I've got crabs.
Very nice. Yes.
Yeah, there he is.
These are, in fact, crabs. They look
They are, in
like
fact,
doggy
crabs.
doos, but actually they're
But no, otherwise I'm well.
soft-shelled
Thank
crabs.
you. Nice to see everyone. Shame Adam's not here.
Yeah, Adam. Where is Adam?
Adam hasn't shown up, unfortunately.
As you were coming, he's not coming.
Funny that, because I said, well, if Adam's going, I'm not coming.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, I heard he wasn't coming, so I came anyway. No, I'm good. Thank you for asking.
Brilliant. Now, I've got a question.
Yes, sir.
Tanya wants to know. You remember Tanya
I
from
do,
New
indeed.
York?
Hard to forget.
Wants to know if
Hi,
you
Tanya.
remember your first meeting, and will you tell us the story, please?
Look at bewilderment.
Can I possibly say this on air?
Well, yes, you can, apparently, because she's asked you to. You know, Tanya?
Yeah, I know Tanya.
I don't think he remembers.
What, Tanya? What did we do? Good Lord. Well,
Not very memorable.
Tanya, you're going to have to write in some feedback and
no,
explain.
Tanya, we met up in New York with David Abbey and had a few drinks, maybe
But
too
then
many
it all
drinks,
goes,
and- 'cause I can't
all
remember
goes
now.
dark after that.
A little dark. We met up at Oshkosh as well. I don't know. Maybe
All
I
right.
shouldn't say.
All right, Tanya. It obviously meant a lot to Tanya.
Oh, sorry, Tanya.
Yeah, brilliant. Would you mind passing it on and try
wouldn't
not to
mind
get
at
too
all.
much curry on the cable?
Well, this is awkward.
Hello, Neville.
Show
Yes,
title.
you're the only sane one here.
Well, I'm the only non-pilot here, so I'm feeling very intimidated by these fellas who are well known for exaggeration and embellishment, as I'm
Exactly
sure you know.
right.
However, a bit of interesting information about Harpenden, where we are at the moment. So that's
Oh,
just
yeah.
slightly to the north of London. It was the former home of Eric Morecambe, a well-known British comedian.
right.
Back in the
Okay,
day.
the
And
Americans
also,
won't understand that.
Captain John Hutchinson used to live
Oh,
in
okay.
Harpenden as well.
Yeah, the Concorde man.
They are very same. Yes,
Yes,
so there we go.
exactly. So he's on the Plain Tales, and of course, the whole interview can be found on PT UK.
Yeah.
You're still enjoying PT UK? Is it all going well?
Very much so, yes. We're just preparing for our 600th show, which will be coming up in May.
Oh,
of
good one to
next year.
drop. I like that.
More info
Well done.
later on. So, yeah, very good. Thank you very much. And keeping very busy with it as well. So,
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. Any final words, anybody? No, good. All right, mate. I will ask Nev to hand you back to the studio.
Yes, well, thanks very much indeed for joining us here in the Indian, and back to you in the studio.
Well done, Jade. Thank you very much. Ah, dear.
I have no idea what you're talking
I loved the look on Pip's face. Here, let's bring us all back in. There we go. I love the look on Pip's face when you put him on the spot there. He's like, I don't know what she's talking
He was
about.
like a deer in the headlights.
Well,
wasn't he?
thankfully, luckily, we have Tanya in our live audience, and she says, "My shimmy dampers moment, LOL. Thankfully, it was not recorded." So you'll remember, for those of you who have listened to this show for quite a number of years, Dr. Steph, our own Dr. Steph, was very tired one episode recording and had a
Low
couple
blood
of
sugar,
IPAs.
beers.
Yeah. And she started reading this technical paper about shimmy dampers, and it was quite funny. It's one of my favorite moments on the show.
Oh, absolutely. Because she normally holds her liquor very well. She drink most of us under the table without even thinking about it. But she definitely apparently succumbed. Although she said she was just tired. It was just tired.
Oh, had nothing to do with the alcohol. And I'm sure that Tanya would say the same thing. She says, I attended an open bar baby shower. I hope the babies weren't drinking. And I was quite tipsy when I met up with Pip and Dave Abbey. A little tipsy.
I didn't know there was such a thing as an open bar baby shower. I might go to more of them.
Exactly. I'm thinking, dang, sounds like those baby showers can be fun. I've never been invited to a baby shower, though. I think that's usually a lady thing. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, looks like Liz is trying to continue to prod us to keep going. Okay.
All right. We had some really good suggestions, but there was one obvious winner. I was a bit short of time, so I went for the easy option, the toilet humor. But there was a suggestion that we would have 3 Steffs, a new Airwolf attack, 747 swimming, no time garbage, stink eye, blah blah. But anyway, it was MetroDoc that came up with the suggestion of airport barbapoo as opposed to barbecue. So there we go, with our flight deck in the gas masks in a sea of brown liquid, which you can only guess at. Now, where are the hidden gems on this one? Well, if you want to see our logo, it's on that plaque on the right-hand side of the divider there with the logo, and just below it, if you examine the dots closely, you'll see 681 is spelled out. But there's a little Easter egg in the top left corner, because in honor of the man whose idea this was, we've got APG. Now, I knew there was a Metro liner, so we've got a MetroDoc liner.
Wow.
That was a suitable name for the airplane. And what else? We're missing the Jackass. So where would a Jackass be in a sea of brown liquid? Well, he's having a swim, of course. Typical Jackasses.
Well, I thought you were talking about me, actually. Thankfully, you were talking about the penguin. Okay, good.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah. So there we go. That was last week's artwork.
And for those of our queasier viewers, maybe avoid the show art for this one.
Or just
actually
hold your nose.
There is a big problem if you want to do something slightly risque, like an airplane full of liquid feces. They balk at such things, such concepts. So this is actually, yeah, I know. I had to fool it by saying an airplane full of liquid mud, and it didn't mind that.
Okay.
Brown mud. So
brown mud that looks like SHIT.
Yes, indeed. Right. So I'm hoping I'll have a bit more time for the next one, and perhaps.
Well, what did you had some kind of a event, like a curry dinner with your friends? Yeah.
I had all sorts of things going on, actually.
You did, actually. Yeah. You had curry, like a double curry event, right? With with your son?
Yes. My boy, one of my boys came for the weekend. So he took me out for a curry as well. And then on the Saturday, I went up to Luton for a curry. And because I was having a few beers, I stayed overnight in a nearby hotel. So that I was running out of time to do this. So I dashed it off quickly before.
Well
I
done,
left.
sir. Well done.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank the Lord for AI.
Yes. I mean, that's what we all say every day when we get up in the morning before we say our prayers. Not really. Okay. Guess what? It's time to talk about the Coffee Fund.
Johnny, how much more coffee? No thanks.
I love coffee. I love tea. I love the APG community.
Coffee and tea.
And the Java and me. A cup, a cup, a cup, a cup, a cup. Oh yeah, cup of coffee. Coffee Fund. That's your way to support the show financially if you'd like to. It's a free show. We do it out of because we love you. That's why we do it. And we like to hang out with each other and just, shoot the breeze and talk about airplanes and all that kind of stuff. But if you would like to join our coffee bar club, you can do that by heading over to airlinepilotguy.com/coffee. A couple of different methods you can use to contribute. One is called the Coffee Fund Classic method. It's basically a PayPal donation page, and most people use it for one-off donations every now and then. Some people actually use it as a recurring contribution mechanism, but most people that do the recurring kind of thing become patrons of the show at patreon.com/airlinepilotguy, and there you can become a patron of the show and pledge a certain amount per episode, and that really helps us out. But again, it's not necessary if you don't have the extra coinage to contribute. That's perfectly fine, because we're going to do it anyway. So if you want to learn more about the Coffee Fund, head over to airlinepilotguy.com/coffee. Let's continue on with some feedback.
Captain, incoming message.
All right, we're going to start with this item from Kevin St. John. Toxic fumes are leaking into airplanes, sickening crews and passengers. Article from the Wall Street Journal. Greetings to the APG community and crew. A very long-time community member. Yes, he's been here. Well, he even says it right here. With chronic APG syndrome dating back to Captain Jeff's original Catholic pilot days here. Wow. That was back in 2009, 2010, and the first part of 2011. All right. This is Kevin again. The bleed air fume issue has been percolating just under the surface for decades, and I'm curious if the crew's now retired captains have ever had to deal with any incidents involving this issue. The issue has now reached mainstream media, and the Wall Street Journal just ran a rather lengthy article, which I link below. The Wall Street Journal article focused on the aircraft manufacturers, and I think that the focus should be on the engine manufacturers, though they both have a vested interest in seeing this issue go away. If the Wall Street Journal reporting is accurate, legislation or regulation changes are needed to protect the passenger and crews. What do you think? Thanks for the great podcast, and for those members of the crew still flying, may you have flight phase favorable winds. Respectfully, Kevin. Thank you, Kevin. Yep. As I said, or as he said, he's a long-term community member, probably beyond any chance of recovering from that. So the article that he is talking about, to which he linked, is from the Wall Street Journal, as we've said a few times now. Doctors compare brain effects of exposure to fumes on airplanes to concussions in National Football League players. The problem, according to this investigation, is getting worse, and not much is being done about it. And we're going to, again, have a link to this in the show notes. And actually, the entire article is going to be in the show notes for you to read. And his question to us, Captain Nick, I know that we have talked about this a few times, several times on the show.
Yeah, we have.
It started rearing its ugly head. And in fact, I remember it was quite a while ago. There was actually a full motion picture produced documentary about aerotoxic syndrome that I ended up receiving from one of the people involved in creating the motion picture, and we discussed it in a lot of detail back then. And I think that the thing that Captain Nick and I have said over the years of discussing aerotoxic syndrome is the fact that we have never personally experienced any. I mean, I'm sure we have experienced fume events, but I don't think the type of fume event that they're referring to in this particular article and investigation regarding the toxic fumes and that kind of thing. And I did put in this little blurb here because I do remember a lot of times these fume events are accompanied by a description of what the fumes kind of smell like, and the term like sweaty socks or stinky feet or whatever is a term that's commonly used. And I remember even back in the early 90s flying the 727, and every once in a while I'd get that kind of odor in the cockpit and through the pneumatic bleed air system and through the air conditioning system. And we always said it was because of the air conditioning packs, because there's a device, I forgot what the name of the thing is called, but it has a specific term for it that removes a lot of the moisture coming in from the bleed air system.
Dehumidifier?
A dehumidifier, but it's like a different. It's like a different name.
Condenser?
Not a condenser.
Yeah, condenser
no.
dryer.
No, it's got another name that I just can't recall right off the
A
head.
Dinks bomb?
That's
Thing
it.
Thingamajig?
Yeah, that's it. I think. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway,
A dirty sock thing?
a dirty sock. Aspirator.
Generator?
A generator. Yeah. Anyway, but I'm wondering. I don't know. Maybe what I was smelling had nothing to do with the air conditioning system, the air conditioning packs, and the device that removes the moisture from the system. Maybe even back then, maybe these engines, the JT 8Ds that were powering the 727 were leaking oil, or they were sucking up and burning oil and throwing it in, and what we thought was air conditioning pack smell was actually toxic fumes. I don't know. Maybe that would be the reason why people look at me and go, yeah, the dude has definitely lost his mind. So that might be the reason, me sucking up all these toxic fumes. But no, I don't mean to be light about this whole thing. There have been people who have had very serious reactions to what they believe is this toxic aerotoxic syndrome, or the toxic air coming from burning of oil and or hydraulic fluid in the engines. And of course, the way almost all airliners work is that the air is bled off at least one, sometimes a couple of the compressor stages of the engine, and that is what's used to power the air conditioning packs and pressurize the airplane, etc. And of course, if you do have some kind of a leak, it's sucked in and breathed by the passengers and crew on board the airplanes. Now, one of the claims to fame of the Dreamliner, the 787 made by Boeing, is the fact that I'm sure there are other airplanes out there that are like this, but at least in the modern era, it's one of the only ones out there that doesn't use bleed air for powering or pressurizing or providing air conditioning inside of the cabin of the 787. It's done by electrically powered compressed air condensers or something like that, CACs, I think they call them. And although, interestingly, I thought, well, I wonder, I mean, you're still working with an air conditioning pack, right? I'm wondering if they've ever had any fume events reported on the 787. And the article that I was reading in my research found that not as many events tied to the 787 Dreamliner, but there have been some fume events reported on the 787. So they're not entirely absent. So, yeah.
I wonder what the source of those is, because if you're not introducing burnt engine oil into the air conditioning system, where is it coming from? Is it the air cycle machine or something like that?
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah. But I personally think that Airbus really missed a trick when they brought out 350 with a conventional pneumatic system and cabin conditioning and pressurization system, because I think Boeing showed us the way to try and avoid the vast majority of these problems by having their electric compressors that pressurize the aircraft. And I don't know whether it was a patent problem that made it too expensive for Airbus to do the same thing, but it usually hasn't prevented them from copying innovation. And I think Boeing certainly got a jump ahead of Airbus with that. And the more we hear about them, these events, and the more serious they are, the more I would have appreciated the 350 and certainly future Airbus models coming out with electric pressurization. I think it's a great idea, much safer. And although they are rare, we know they're relatively rare. You and I have encountered those smells many times in our careers. I used to get regularly in the 340 a real whiff of what I thought was the sort of smell you get when you go to a dry cleaners, and you get that chemical smell off the recently processed clothes coming through. We used to get a very distinctive and strong odor of that at times. Many of my compatriots wrote up aircraft for having the stink of sweaty socks.
Yeah.
Not many had it as severely as some of the recent occurrences where you've had real smoke and fumes in the cockpit that have actually reduced the visibility. Generally, it was just a smell. But even that, I mean, some people are obviously more sensitive than others. Those of us probably with more Neanderthal genes in our bodies can perhaps shake it off a bit and don't seem to suffer badly from it. But there are undoubtedly some people who react very badly to these kind of toxic fumes. After all, they have identified them as a form of neurotoxin. So, if you wanted to invent a nerve gas to attack another country with, this is the sort of place you'd be going, trying to invent or trying to examine or try to put a neurotoxin into the atmosphere. So they can be really debilitating, and they can shorten life, although the manufacturers will still argue that there needs to be an awful lot more research done to prove that that's where these the health problems that people have had, that's the ultimate source of them. But I think it certainly would be enormously beneficial to everyone's health if we didn't have to take the risk of tapping air out of the engines to pressurize or to breathe during our flights.
Well, I wonder if we're getting close to one of those watershed moments, like lead paint, asbestos.
Mm. Oh yeah.
There was a great scene. I'm trying to think of what movie it was. I want to say it was maybe it was a Will Smith movie, I, Robot, or something like that. But anyway, the long story short, it's very futuristic. This is way far in the future, and he is trying to run away from the bad guys or whatever, and he's with this girl, and they jump on a motorcycle, and she's like, does that run on gasoline? That stuff's explosive. But they're that far advanced that the fact that it just ran on gasoline was like incredibly dangerous. Like no one does that anymore. It's just interesting to see that how the timeline changes things,
Yep. Yeah. And you can only sweep these sort of events under the carpet for so long, because eventually you get enough. We've seen it with tobacco and other things that people consume, and they're unwittingly being exposed to something that is potentially quite dangerous.
Weren't the original oxygen masks on the 141 made of asbestos?
Yes,
Jeff.
I'm sorry, what?
You're joking.
Yes, he's joking.
Yes, I'm kidding.
Yeah. I was thinking, but what
Cardboard, I could believe, but
before turbine engines and bleed air and all of that, I was thinking to myself, well, I know we had pressurized reciprocating engine propeller-driven airplanes, and I'm wondering, well, how exactly did they pressurize those things? And I was thinking, well, I wonder if it was similar to the way that the 787 is pressurized, but I just did a quick search while we were discussing this live on the show here, and looks like that, I don't know if this is true of all non-turbine engined aircraft, but looks like that some of the airplanes that were like, for instance, the Lockheed Model 10 Electra and other airplanes that had reciprocating engines, they had turbo superchargers, and they sucked some of the pressurized air from the turbo superchargers to and I'm thinking, well, then I guess maybe they would have the same kind of risk, right? Because it's like, right, the turbo supercharger is like right on the engine, right? And if there was a problem with oil leaks or burning fuel, I would imagine maybe they'd have the same kind of issue. I don't know. I don't know enough about that kind of an engine. I can't hear you, AJ.
How about now?
I can now.
I was going to say, that's the same way it is now. The Meridian M350 is a pressurized piston engine, single engine airplane, and it's pressurized off the turbochargers.
Okay.
That's currently made today.
And so, and those things are mounted right on the engine, right? The engine block or whatever. So, I mean, if there was something toxic burning, it would be sucked through the system or not? Is it safer,
so the way a turbocharger works, you have an exhaust side and you have an air compressor side. So you have the turbine and the compressor.
Mm-hmm.
They are on one shaft, but
Yeah.
they are separate enclosed systems, theoretically.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe arguably more separated than the bleed air versus the combustion cycle on a jet engine.
Okay.
Because I think all the bleed air comes off the bypass of the jet engine. So theoretically, you're not getting any, combustion in that, or combustion materials in that bleed air, right? It's all bypass air, which is theoretically clean, but you run into the same issues of seals and bearings leaking and things like that. I would imagine that would be a similar concern, but significantly less heat to vaporize those things in a
But still a lot
turbocharger
of heat.
versus a jet engine. Still a lot, yeah, for sure,
Yeah.
for sure.
Okay. Well, very, very interesting. Again, Kevin, I don't mean to minimize at all this situation, and as time goes on, I think more and more evidence is pointing to the fact that this could be a thing and could be a big problem. Just because in our experience as airline pilots in our career, both Captain Nick and my career experience, we don't think we encountered any of these situations. I think it's also worth looking into more and finding out if this definitely is a problem. And I also agree with Captain Nick's assertion that I think some people are just much more sensitive to, they react much more significantly than to this kind of scenario than a lot of people do. So that might be a factor here as well.
I mean, there's a tremendous amount of really bad things that make up airplanes, like Skydraw. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. The brand name for hydraulic fluid, right?
Yeah.
Well, but the Skydraw itself is
water.
Isn't it like incredibly caustic?
Is Skydraw the stuff that we put in our windshield clearing systems, or that's another thing?
No, Skydraw is a hydraulic fluid.
Okay, it is a hydraulic fluid.
It's a very special big jet airliner hydraulic fluid, and it's like if you touch it with your hand, it's bad.
It melts your hand. Yeah.
Yes.
All right. So thanks again, Kevin, for and again, this article will be in the show notes for you guys. It's a great read. everybody should take a look. And it's kind of sad. Some of the people that have suffered through what they believe is the aerotoxic syndrome. And so hopefully we'll get to the bottom of this. All right. Looks like number 7 is the one we're going to go with next. Am I getting a thumbs up? Yep, I am. Thank you, Liz. Here we go. This is some audio feedback. We love audio feedback, people. If you want to send some in, just like Kim did, we're going to hear from her very shortly. Please do. There are a couple of different ways to do that. You just record something on your phone or your computer, but most likely your phone, and attach it to an email and send it to feedback@airlinepilotguy.com. Or on the website, you can go to contact us, I believe, is where we have the speak pipe functionality, where you can just, whatever device you're accessing the website on, you can, if it has a microphone, you can record something there as well. All right, here we go. Kim is going to talk to us.
Hi, I'm Kim from Germany, and I've been listening to the podcast for a few months now. So I heard the episode on where you're kidding about the German accent, so I know. Yeah, but however, I don't know if you ever discussed soft skills in the cockpit. Regularly, you are talking about technical themes and things that happened in aviation, but I would like to know, with all of your experience, what the most important skills are you need to become a successful pilot. A little sidekick, I'm working in the kindergarten and thinking about changing my job, but being a pilot is both fascinating and a little scary for me, so I don't know yet what I'm going to do. But yeah, I would appreciate hearing from you.
Thank you, Kim. So being a kindergarten teacher, you would find yourself right at home in the cockpit of an airliner with the fellow pilots, because we're pretty much like kindergartners as far as our maturity level. So that's a great question. And I hope that you didn't take offense by our fake German accents, especially Captain Nick. And I know he's very rude, and we do apologize for him. But
dodged a bullet on that one. Yeah, I did.
What, did you do the same? Oh yeah, you
tried.
did.
You tried to get me to do it, and I was like,
yeah.
I think Nick should do it.
So hopefully no offense was taken by our German listeners. But she does ask a very, very good question, and I'm not sure exactly the best way to answer it. So I'm going to start off by deferring to Captain Nick and AJ. What they think is the most important skill for Kim to have to be a successful pilot?
Prevarication and confabulation.
Oh, say that again.
Prevarication and confabulation.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
Oh,
now, would you explain to us what that means?
Speaking evasively and inventing things on the fly.
Ah, that is a good skill to have. How does one get that skill? Or is it something that's just
I think
natural?
it's inherent.
Inherent,
Yeah, I think
okay.
I think it's nature, not nurture.
Okay. Cool. Wow, that was a very sophisticated answer. I was not expecting that. Mine was going to be
I
much
was
simpler.
demonstrating. I was demonstrating my answer.
Okay, I love it.
I don't think Kim's going to understand our sense of humor there.
Yeah, well, I don't even understand it. Captain Nick, do you have a better?
Go ahead, follow that up.
I was just going to say that it is a great question, but you work with the skills you've got, and you will find out if they're adequate for the task ahead if you want to become an airline pilot. It's very hard to invent skills that or personality traits that and change your whole being. So don't try and do that. Just, I mean, of all the people I flew with, there was no one set of characteristics that I could pin down that identified someone as an airline pilot. I had artistic types. I flew with them who were good at playing musical instruments. I had very autocratic people who, they had a very black and white view of the world. I flew with people who were very funny, people who were, great and had been great engineers in the past, people who came from the military, people who came from a completely benign background, who had previously been accountants or bankers or whatever. So the variety of people who became airline pilots was almost as infinite as the variety of people you ever meet, in your daily life. So I don't think there was any one set type of person, and the people who are becoming successful airline pilots are becoming even more diverse because society is becoming much more tolerant. Prejudices are being forgotten, and quite rightly so. And the same applies in the airline industry. You've obviously got to have some technical skills. So you need to be able to understand how machines work. You need to have decent coordination because flying skills are a very important thing. You need to be able to cope well under pressure. You need to be able to organize your thoughts into logical streams. You need to be able to communicate very well. So, getting your thoughts all lined up, getting your ducks in a row, and then briefing people as to what is required of them is, an essential thing. But, many of us have got these abilities. We only need perhaps the opportunity to bring them out, or perhaps a little bit of training to bring them to the fore. And, you will find that you are very adequately prepared, and you have the ability to become an airline pilot. So the fact that so many of people from so many different backgrounds have been successful, I think it's very hard to pin down one particular skill you need. So I'm just going to say, whatever you've got, if you have got the enthusiasm and drive to push yourself forward and overcome the obstacles that will undoubtedly be in your way as you progress through your flight training and job hunting, etc., you will become a successful airline pilot. Don't worry about skills you think you haven't got, or you might be short of. You just go ahead and do your best and let other people decide whether that's sufficient.
What he said. He covered so many skills that are valuable, and some would argue essential to have to be a successful. Of course, we could go into and spend quite some time on what exactly a successful pilot is. I guess one that is still flying and still alive, that's successful. Right?
Oh, that's a mark of success. Yes,
I think so.
It goes back to the ratio of bad landings to good landings to great landings, right?
Yeah, that's part of it as well. But I will say one thing that Captain Nick said, one of the skills that he enunciated in his discussion of this, which was amazing, is the skill of communicating. Communications, because one of the things we do, as you know, Kim, as we cover all these accidents and incidents, and in so many of these instances, communication skills were important either to keep people from being injured or killed, and or the opposite. The skills weren't being used as effectively as they could have been, and things could have been averted and lives saved if they had been more effectively using the skill of communication. And that's so true, not only in flying and flying safety, but also in our relationships, our interpersonal relationships with each other. And so that would be, if I had to pick like just one thing, that for me, that would be it. Of course, there are so many other things, like AJ mentioned the two words that I can't remember, but those are very important skills as well. And but as Captain Nick said, we're not out there at least not yet, flying airplanes by ourselves. There's at least 2 pilots.
The thing I wanted to add on to your point on communication is that communication is 2 things, right? It's sending communication and it's receiving communication. For example, the story that we just talked about a little while ago about the go-around. Mm-hmm. One guy was communicating, we need to go around. The other guy was not receiving the communication that we need to go around.
Right. The first officer was displaying very effective.
Well, maybe or maybe not. Skills. We don't know how he said it, but
well, that's true. But it was better than the fact that the captain wasn't accepting this communication or disregarding that communication. And it's the same thing with, the relationship that you have with your loved ones or your friends. I mean, you might be hearing what they're saying, but are you listening to what they're saying? And,
that explains a lot.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk later after the show. Anyway. The very good point, AJ. Tanya points out. Patience. Neil Landhorn says in our live chat, a lot of good characteristics to have. There's so many, and of course, we display many different types of skills. So it's really kind of hard to pinpoint exactly which one is most important. But great question,
in fact,
though, Kim.
A crew made up of all different character types is ideal because one person will think of one avenue that would be something another person wouldn't even consider, but when you're trying to make a plan, that may be a very valid direction to go, but you wouldn't have thought of it yourself.
I went flying this past weekend with a friend of mine who's much more of a in-depth planner, look at every detail kind of a pilot. And I had suggested I wanted to go to this airport called Wimpy's. It's Lumpkin County in Dahlonega. It's a tiny little runway. It's 3,000 feet by 50 feet. So give or take, what's that?
Somebody's driveway.
15 meters by 1,000 meters or less.
Wow.
And it's up in the mountains. There's rising terrain off the end. And I looked at the map and I did a little bit of research, watched some videos of other people flying in there. And I didn't think much of it. I've been into smaller airports and I was kind of ready to just go fly. And he's like, no, I'm not really comfortable with this. And I said, okay, well, let's do some more research. So his influence on me led me to doing more in-depth, looking deeper into the weather patterns and everything else that was going on around there. And just, nothing dramatic would have happened either way if I had or hadn't done this extra research, but it was a good effect on me to do a little more research, a little more background on it. And so I like flying with people like that change how I would fly things. And also I brought him a little bit out of his comfort zone because he would have never gone there in the first place. And once we'd gone there and landed, he's like, oh, that wasn't nearly as bad as I made it out to be in my head, but I'm glad that we were able to do it together. So that was kind of a cool combination of different thought processes.
And you brought up another great skill to have as a crew member is being open to hear, especially if you're in command, if you're the captain, being open to get input from your fellow crew members.
That was the thing I said earlier that you didn't listen to.
Oh, that thing. Yeah, the word that I'm still trying to figure out what you said. Okay, that's such a good point, and I just wanted to reemphasize.
Remember the communication goes both ways thing.
Here, let me give you some communication right now. Okay, it's under the table. You can't see it.
Nonverbal communication.
All right. Again, thank you for spurring on a great conversation, Kim, and I hope that you were able to take away something from that. And if you do venture into this world of flying, and please let us know. Keep listening. And and I promise we'll try to keep the fake German accents to a minimum, and so we don't offend you.
I make no such promises.
No, yeah, well, we'll try. That's the key word there, try. So thank you for submitting that question, and we'd love to hear from you again, and all of you out there sending in, hearing your voice. That's something that's very special. All right, and we're going to end today's episode by covering this piece of feedback from another Any Mouse in New York. So it's an anonymous.
Is this the same mouse or a different mouse?
I'm thinking
this is the same. This is the same mouse that we got our title from last time. This was the Barbie Poo Anony Mouse.
Oh, okay. Okay, great. Well, this person, he or she, is contributing amazing amounts of stuff to the show, so we do appreciate that. Okay, here we go. On a recent flight, while perusing the aircraft's maintenance history, I came across the following unusual write-up. The mechanic spent 5 days removing panels in an attempt to find the errant monkey with no success. I did not correct the English in the write-up. Thank you. It's much funnier to read that. Now, this happened at the GIG, Rio de Janeiro Galileo International Airport. Galileo, maybe. Okay. I think I added an extra L in there. Here's the
Galileo.
Galileo. This is submitted by a technician or reported by a technician.
Not a technician. It is by technician.
Oh, by technician. And this was October 9th. I'm assuming relatively recently. 2025.
Pretty recent.
Yeah. Let's see. 10/6/25. At 2:45 p.m., a little monkey was confirmed to have entered the bulk cargo of aircraft, and then they deleted it. What do you call that when you cover up
the ship number? Censored or redacted?
Redacted. That's the word I was looking for. Thank you. It was redacted. Okay, the monkey. I don't know how they knew the sex of the monkey, but he was.
Monkeys don't wear pants, Jeff.
Okay. Well, then maybe it was very clear to the technician. He was saw escalating the bulk cargo stand and entering the bulk cargo compartment. Although all attempts to rescue the animal have been done, including bringing the airport's wildlife rescue team, the little animal wasn't captured or found, neither confirmed to have left the bulk compartment when looking through the hangar camera system. Now, I have to say that I don't think English, the technicians, I don't think that's his or her first language. So we got to give him a break there. But I am impressed that the person that wrote this write-up actually spelled hangar correctly. Because
they got it right.
Most people in this country, and English is their first language, would probably misspell that word.
But remember, most of us are not level 6 English.
That's true. The only one I know is Captain Stefan, level 6. But I'm sure that there are many out there listening that are also level 6.
So
anyway,
is this Schrödinger's monkey?
It could be. Good point. Wow. So that is a potential show title as well, although it's going to be tough to spell monkey. Schrödinger.
I have faith in Nick. He's got Google.
Yeah. We can't hear you, Nick. I don't know why. You're not coming through, sir. You're completely silent. Completely silent.
I'm just going to say, Jeff, although he spelt that one word right, most of the others are rather bizarrely. I like although all attempts.
Yeah. I cleaned it up a little bit when I was reading it, and now you're just making fun of the guy. It's just not fair.
Fair enough.
He's not here to defend himself.
No, very rarely are. Yes.
Yeah. Anyway, so very interesting. The little monkey. What happened to the little monkey? They took all those panels off and they couldn't find him.
He wasn't there, but he wasn't confirmed to have been leaving.
Nope. They'll find out soon enough. By now, if the monkey was still in the airplane, they would probably be.
What if they only fly to cold places?
Well, that's possible. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway. Well, hey, look at that. I think it's time now for us to wrap up the show. And point you to our website, airlinepilotguy.com, where there's at least 50% accurate information about the crew and the community and the calendar. Oh, by the way, Just quickly, just a reminder to folks that if you want to know when we're planning on recording a show, not necessarily when we actually do it, but when we're planning to, you can look
not when
at
we're
our
successful.
Yeah, it's not 100% guarantee there, but you can see the calendar on the website, and it's a Google Calendar, and you can actually, there's a link there on the website or on that calendar at the bottom part of it that says, add this Google Calendar to your calendar, and so then you can have it on your own personal calendar, and a calendar, and then you can set it up to give you alerts for when we're recording or when we think we're going to be recording the show.
And
so
one quick note on that: I saw an email from someone who felt like they were having some troubles with YouTube and had set an alert to remind them when we were recording.
Right.
The YouTube recordings do not trigger those alerts. The videos that are produced after of the recording, that are after the fact, do trigger those alerts. So if you're trying to set a
so
YouTube
if you're trying
alert,
to do a live,
if you want to see it live, YouTube is not going to tell you. You got to go to the link on the website on the calendar.
You, because I did spend a considerable amount of time since the last show trying to figure out how to get these alerts to work, and now it makes sense. There is no way to make them work.
Well, there is a way. You have to make the YouTube video live itself and visible to everyone, but we can talk about that later. Offline.
I don't want to do that. Sorry.
That's what I assume. So
yeah. We actually tried that a while back.
Liz
when we first started doing these live shows, and that's why I don't know if you notice in our live chat, many people have the little the wrench symbol or the spanner or whatever you call it in
the spanner of doom.
That because we had so many trolls ruining our good time here, and so we had to have like almost everybody there with some kind of a hammer to squash these people, and then we finally said, screw that, we're not doing that anymore, we're just going to make these unlisted. Okay, anyway,
moving on,
enough in the weeds. Let's talk about social media.
If you're a Facebook fan, you can go to facebook.com/airlinepilotguy. If you're on X, formerly known as Twitter, we're at APG Crew. Instagram, you can search APG Crew. And again, youtube.com/airlinepilotguy or search APG, and you'll find us.
Just do a search. Keyword airline. And we're there somewhere. Pilot and guy, if you throw that one in there as well.
Probably throw that in there.
We'll zoom in even more. All right. And also, speaking of zooming in, which would be necessary in this guy's case. Hey, hello. Can you tell us about Slack?
Okay, but I'm dripping wet.
Sorry, Hillel. It was a joke. Why don't you come over here and tell us all about Slack, please, sir?
APG listeners, please join us on our Slack team. Slack is a communication, coordination, and sharing platform that works on your mobile, laptop, or browser. On Slack, we share news and ideas, we suggest episode and Plain Tales topics, we plan events and meetups. To get into the Slack team, please email me at slack@airlinepilotguy.com. That's SLACK, Sierra Lima Alpha Charlie Kilo @airlinepilotguy.com. Or send me a tweet with your preferred email address to @Hillel, and I'll send you an invitation. That's Hillel, spelled Hotel India 11 Echo 1, and see you in Slack.
Thanks a lot, Hillel.
I need a towel. I got shampoo in my eyes.
Okay, I'll be right there. We're wrapping it up. All right. So there you go. Information from our Slack master, the slacker in chief, Hillel. And again, don't forget about the New York City unofficial APG meetup on the 15th of November.
But wait, if you go, doesn't that officially make it official?
Well, I guess it will. It's possible it could be an official one. We're not yet sure.
The official,
but we're about 50% sure that it's going to be official. All right. And we'd also like to thank our producer, Liz.
It's been a tough night for you.
Liz just has that look on her face like, I can't believe
she's already rocking. You see it? She's rocking.
Is it time to end the stream yet?
It's getting close.
Uh-oh.
The show title.
I think we're in trouble.
Uh-oh. Yeah. Anyway, thank you, Liz, for everything you do.
My pleasure.
Even if it means that you're going to be spanking us very shortly. Okay, and we'd also like to thank our live chat room, our live audience.
Great chat room today. And by the way, we have some great news in the chat room.
Do we?
Yeah.
Oh, Tim Van Ram is back on the ground safely. It's okay. It's safe now. The skies are safe.
Wait, I can fly again?
Yes. Yes, he is on the ground. All right. And so congrats to Tim for completing another successful flight, as far as we know. And we'd also like
He didn't say anything about success. He said he was on the
that's
ground.
true. He didn't.
Yeah. How's the airplane, Tim?
Anyway, I guess
He's texting from the ambulance.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, I think the only thing else to say, really, is wishing you clear skies, unlimited visibility, and tailwinds. Talons, Douglas.
Toodaloo. You're welcome.
See you next time.
Yeah, he's up in the sky. It's the airline pilot guy.
Good day.
I used to be such a good pilot till I started APG. I opened doors for little old ladies. I helped them to their seats. Airline pilot guy, I fly America. Oh, airline pilot guy, he can land in heavy fog. I got no friends 'cause I'm always flying. I just don't have the time. But I can land this old plane. I can land it just fine. Airline pilot guy,